Good evening and welcome back to the Dive Plan. I'm your guide Jim. Thanks for being here. Today we're diving at beautiful Dickman's Mill Park on Ruston Way in Tacoma, Washington. See these pilings? A little bit about the park. Dickman's Mill was the longest continually running and largest timber mill in our entire region and operated from the 1890s all the way until 1974 when it finally shut down as the last timber mill in our region. In 1979, the remains of the timber mill caught fire and burned down. And then in the 90s, the city of Tacoma's Parks Department bought up all of this land that you see behind you, and that land right over there, and started turning it into a park for people to enjoy as part of the scenic ocean walk here on Ruston Way. What are we doing tonight? We're doing 2 to 3 dives. Why do I say 2 to 3? We're definitely doing 2. But depending on how many people show up and how bad the weather gets, the weather report was mostly cloudy. Of course, that means it's raining. So depending on how bad the weather gets and how many people show up, we'll decide whether or not we do a second night dive. Our first dive number 1, we're going to go out here through these pilings you see right here, which are absolutely gorgeous to look at underwater. It looks like a cathedral as you're swimming through them. And then we will go past them and down, no deeper than 80 to 85 feet for no longer than 35 to 45 minutes. Hopefully see some nudibranchs, lots of crabs. This area is known for lots of red rock, Dungeness, and graceful crabs. Interesting fact about crabs. They will tear each other's arms off in a fight over territory or dominance, and they will amputate their own arms to get away from a predator, or if the arm is damaged due to a fight or just bumping it and getting it damaged. So yeah, they do grow back though. As they molt, the arms grow back, and after about 3 molts, the smaller arm usually is back to full size. It's a little fact about crabs. And here, these are dock worker crabs, because so many one-armed and no-armed crabs in these waters right here by Dickman's Mill. It's ridiculous. So hopefully I'll get some pictures of a one-armed or no-armed crab for you. If you see a big old crab with one arm, that crab has been through some stuff. He's experienced. If you see a crab with no arms, they don't have long for this world. They got nothing to defend themselves. Anyhow, also past the pilings, when the barges used to come up with all the timber and they'd roll them onto this whole area, which was covered in planking, or they would pick up timber to bring to other places, they would have their meals here, and the mill workers would have their meals here, and then they would just throw the bottles, because there was no plastic in the 1800s, early 1900s. They'd throw the bottles, the plates, the cups, and all that other stuff just right into the water, because back then, if it's underwater, it doesn't exist. So out there, anywhere past 55 to 65 feet, you can still find some really cool old bottles, small plates, cups, things like that. I found a bottle here that was over 120 years old once. So hopefully we might see a couple of bottles. We also might see a seal or two here, especially on the night dives. They love following us on night dives because our lights attract squid, and the seals love to eat squid as snacks. But on the first dive, we'll do the pilings, no deeper than 85, like I said. Come in 35 to 45 minutes, do our safety stop, write in our dive logs, see who shows up for the night dives. All right, that's the plan. Let's make it happen. All right, that's one dive down. It was fantastic. Found the Eastern Pacific red octo that you saw, and she posed for me for a while, and then, like this traffic back here, and actually swam up in the water column so I could actually take pictures of her swimming along away from the bottom, and then she got down and you saw the cool different colors. I want to be like that guy when I grow up. He's cool. Anyway, so yeah, it was fantastic. Of course, first thing I saw when I got in the water was that seal that's in the first picture, and then that seal followed me on the entire dive, swimming around me, above me, below me. Didn't stay still long enough for me to get a picture underwater, of course, but he did bump me a few times just to say, hey, I'm still here, I want to play. And then as soon as I came back, got through the pilings on my safety stop, I turned around, looked for him, and he was gone. So he had had enough of my nonsense. And of course, the first thing I saw when I got down to the bottom was that no-armed red rock crab. Like, oh, I wonder if I'll see any. Oh, there's one right there in 14 feet of water. So yeah, and then you saw all those diamondback tritonias, and just what a great dive. So now we've got 2 people here already. 2 more should be here in a few minutes. We're going to gear up in a little while once the sun gets a little lower, so it's a true night dive. We're going to go back out a little further to the west, go down and make a big U around, see if we can't find another octopus. Maybe that seal will show up again, and we'll just have a great time. That's the plan. Let's make it happen. Hey, I'm back at home. Second dive obviously completed because I'm back at home hanging out with Bonesy Bess here. What a great dive. The seal found us right at the beginning of the dive before I could even get my camera on, of course. Then she hovered above my dive buddy Jeremy for a little while and then took off as soon as I pointed my camera at her, so no luck there. We found tons of Nudibranchs, the striped nudies, the diamondback tritonias, some Janulus fuscus, the Eastern Pacific red, another Eastern Pacific red octopus, who was nice enough to do some posing for me, and that crazy worm. I had to actually look it up in the book. It's called a giant fleshy scale worm. When that sucker came out of the bottle, I had thought it was an octopus in there, and it came out, and I was like, oh yeah, it's an alien, I don't know what it is. I have never seen one of those underwater before, so it was pretty amazing. Also saw lots of sailfin sculpins, a tiny little baby sturgeon poacher, and as I mentioned previously, tons of red rock crabs, both with 2 arms and some with 1. So yeah, it was a fantastic dive. Had a lot of fun. 5 people showed up in total, so that's a pretty good group for a night dive. I forgot to mention earlier, I'm sporting my Sunto hat today. I use a Sunto Cobra 3 air integrated computer for my dives. This isn't a sponsored video, but Sunto, if you're listening, I'm your guy. I've used Sunto dive computers for years. Come sponsor me. Anyway, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video, which should be this weekend at Les Davis Pier. All right? Fins up, dive safe.